Welcome to Amar General Info channel. Today I will be sharing with you Angular developer mock interview. If you are not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and watching.
So, okay, can you tell me the features of Angular 8? So, why we moved to Angular 8? So, earlier.
Angular 8, if I said this journey has happened like a Angular 2, right? So like if we say like Angular JS is there, and then we come up with some other like architecture layer, we have changed it, and totally it was changed to controller based application. Now we Angular 2 onwards it came like a component based application, right? In that component based application we can say day by day it is increasing the functionality. We are reducing the developer codes. How if I'm writing like 100 of line of code earlier in Angular 2 or Angular JS, now we are writing that it's reduced very 10 line of code, or we can say like that. So we having a more ready-made component modules are there where we can use directly and we can access those things. And if you come to specifically if you're coming for the, in Angular 8, so in Angular 8 like I think they have introduced like a compilers and all OTP compilers earlier was there. So now we are using like a VY compiler. So it's an inbuilt it is there while behind it compiling the application, build the application JS, converting into and all. So those more comfortable with the browser side. So these kind of features, very minor are there which they have introduced. Earlier we have observer promises, how to write the syntax, and now it is a different way like that. So those little minor changes are there in Angular 8.
Okay, fine. So, yeah. Sorry. Can you explain the Angular lifecycle hooks?
Yeah, sure. So Angular lifecycle hooks. By the name only we can say like why we are telling lifecycle hooks. So suppose like in Angular, so we have any of the libraries framework, we can say some predefined functionalities, predefined predefined events are there which will run frequently on the basis of your changes. So that changes it should be reflected in your UI. So for that purpose we can say it's a life cycle hook. So every point of the time it will be having some piece of place where you can use your customized logical data, you can put it over there and you can run it those. So in that cycle we have a certain events are there, we can say like a methods, we can say like that. Those method we need to implement in our component, and based on our requirement. Okay, so based on our requirement we need to implement, and then we need to write all our logic in that method. So for that first event is there, like we can say it will be ng change. Okay, ng on change, and the n ng on init, ng e do check, and the n ng after content view, and after that ng after content content do content do check, and then after ng view in it, and the end view after do check view. Okay, and finally we will do all those functionality will do like in a destroy. So last one we can say like it's a destroy. So whenever if we are anything we are subscribing, when any component we are using it, that should be destroy after later on our uses. So these are not basic, these are steps you'll be following in every changes of the application. So yeah, these are the main lifecycle events.
Okay. So, we have directives. So, can you explain the different type of structural directives?
Yeah, so we in a directive we can say like there are having a structural directive, and component itself also a directive, we can say. Okay, and attribute directive is also there. Okay, so if you're coming like a structural directive, which are like a predefined directives are there in our Angular where we are using it like a ng asterisk, sorry, yeah, if, for loop, and these all are like a switch, and all these all are like a, we can say like a structured directive. Okay, and component, whatever we are creating it component with the name of some selector name, so that name will come sit it in our HTML piece, and that HTML piece, in that we can write like a element. Okay, so with that element, that is called like a component directive. So in that component we will write everything, whatever the logics, everything, we can write it, and we can view that whatever we have in our HTML piece of that template URL. Okay, that is also like a component directive. And attribute directive also there, where we can create like at the rate like directive name of at the rate directive. Inside that we can pass our selector name, and then piece of HTML, whatever we can write it, and then it will, that attribute name we can use it any of the element directly, we can use it that element. Yeah, these are like directive.
Yes, sir. Okay. So in Angular, like and ng template and ng container. So what is the use of that one?
Yeah. Yeah, very in a template, ng template. Uh, 1 minute, 1 minute. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so ng template, suppose where we are having some like structured directive and all, we are writing it like if you are writing in a ng template and we are writing it in that, so that will be called like that directive, it won't be visible in your HTML piece. It won't be create any DOM element in that. So you can see, and you inspect it, and you can see in your our elements in our console, so you won't get it. That will be like, we can say like actual word is like, we can say virtually, it will be a virtual directive, we can say. Okay, and same thing, if we are having any content directive there, it will create like a container kind of element, and it will be projected all the our content data. So these are main different.
Okay. So can you explain the different type of pipes?
Pipes, yeah. So pipe is nothing but like formatting live data, whatever the data we are want to display it according to our requirement, according to our requirement, it can be format the data with the separated we can use that pipe with the use of pipe symbol. After that we will write it some pipe name, and that pipe, it will be filter whatever we can write it and format it, and it will be display according to us. Like predefined pipes are there, like we are having a like a uppercase, date, dollar sign, currencies are there, date, everything for date formats are there. So these are like a pipe. Okay, so in that pipe we are having a like a two types of pipes are there. One is pure pipe and one is the impure pipe. So pure pipe is like we can say it's a predefined default pipe will be there, where having a like a we having like a flag, it will be there. Okay, impure, there we need to pass like a, we can set it as a true or false. In the base of the true or false, it will be switched to pure pipe and impure pipe. So pure pipe, it will be detect only whenever you are right, any input changes are updated, any input changes are reflect, then it will, that pipe's data, it will be reflect, and it will be run in that. Okay, and the an impure pipe, it will be detect every each and every change reduction, it will be called, which is very costly for us. So I don't think so we recommend to use an impure pipe, because it's a use effect in our data manipulating anything.
Okay. Fine. So what is the use of like at input, at output, at view child?
Yeah, so at input, at view child, and at output are like to share the data between one component to another component. Okay, so for this data, if we are having some component we have created inside that component, some other component if we are created, that means it's having a holding we are having a like a parent and child relationship. Okay, to share the data between these kind of relationship of the component, we are using like to at the rate input and at the rate output. So at the rate output will be used for the like for the parent to child, and if we are having like a child to parent, if we are using like a input at the rate. Okay, these am I wise words I'm doing?
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, and at the rate view is nothing but like a same way we are using it, but it will like it will create like a reference variable with the child data. We can use it, any of the parent we can use it like using that at the rate child view having a name of that, and then you can emit it using that reference variable it will create, and that using that reference variable you can dot whatever name is there, you can use that and that piece of child component data.
Okay, okay. So we shared one component to another component. Inside at the V child we using event emitter. So what is the use of event emitter?
So event emitter actually it will be registered the emitters. Okay, you can need to write like a emitter, emitter. In that you can write your name whatever is there. So that emitter it will be registered your like we can say like a super class of your data, your component. So whatever emit it will go up and it you can use that data anywhere.
Okay. So real time questions. So real time. So
Yeah.
obviously once we start the application, obviously required like login module. So how did you like authenticate and authorized users?
So like we are using like we can use like authenticator tokenizer concept we are using it. So in that tokenizer we are having like cookies mostly we are using right now in our application like a cookies where we have set the like what we can say like a token key. Okay, so that with that key we are every time each and every call we have to the token should be there, and that token should be matched with that. And for that token and all to manage those things, state management and all authorization for the URL particular URLs based on role we are providing it. So for that we have implemented like this tokenizer cookies and all, and NGRX state management module we are using it. In that we are using the state management, the thing how data will be flow, and auth guards we are using to handle the role based. Like suppose you have logged in and but this this URL you are not able to supposed to access. So for that we are using like a auth guard and all. So in that auth guard basically we will implement we'll create a service and then implement like a can active can these kind of child active, these kind of methods are there, events we can say. So we are implementing that. Inside that we have to write our logic based on our role name of from the DB and all, and then we are passing it true or false. So those things we that can active we are calling in our routes. So from there we can access the like this kind of authentication we are using.
Okay, good. So after successful login, you are authenticate users, right, based on token. So we want to design some like side nav, like toolbar, header and
Okay.
footer, left side menu. So how did you show like different based on the role? So
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, I got it. Like you mean to say like once we logged in, so there will having some menus and all, and that menus also it will be segregated into different roles. This menu it should be displayed to for that, right? Am I correct?
Yeah,
Question.
correct. Yeah.
Huh. So what we are doing it first we will we have some metadata kind of things. We have like logically we are using it. So what will we will get it some configuration. Suppose we have tailor high tailor. In our role we having a high tailor, low tailor, and medium tailor like that. So So if we are having a high tailor, we are getting some configuration metadata from the DB. So based on that we are getting that JSON. Based on that we are displaying and hiding the things. Okay, so in the ad we are using like this way, and based on role we are like some of the places we are not required to load that module itself. So there we are using like a lazy loading concept. We are using it. Suppose two modules are there. Okay, one module is only required for the high tailor role. Okay, so we are not loading those kind of modules which are not required. So that data, it will be that modules, it will be sitting into lazy loading routing. So in the lazy loading, lazy loading is nothing but like on demand, whatever the required routes are there, then only we will load it. So in that load, children's will be there. Inside that we will pass it like a component name and all, and like that we are handling it.
Okay, fine, Asant. Okay, so what is shared module?
Share module, actually you can say like some of the modules in every application, some common modules will be there. Okay, so in that common models we have to use, it will be mostly 80% use in each and every modules, every component, every place. So for that we every time if we create any some services are there which we need to use it. So that data we no need to create it in every modules, every component. We no need to create it. What we do, we will create one module which called like a shared module. So with that shared module we will implement in only once, like we can say like a provide in, if it is a one service is there. Okay, provide in, if we write it, and like a root, so it will be shared for all the entire application. So it's like a root, such root if we provide it, it will be almost every place it will be available for that. So we no need to, again we no need to inject that. It will be create only one instance for that. So we no need to create it again. We no need to implement it, import it every place and all. So that kind of shared module is mostly like to share the data for every component.
Okay, okay. So we have started one new page, like for example patient palm. So how did
Okay.
you validate each field, like text box, text area, drop down? So I want to validate and shown in the error message
Okay.
UI.
Okay. So we are using like a reactive forms everywhere. So reactive forms are more flexible to use, to maintain the big registration page and all, we can say like a more complicated forms, we can say. So in the ad we are using like a first we need to like mostly we will create like how we will create one form. So we need to like first we need to register our form builders and all. Inside the form builder us will get some objects. With the ad we need to write like a controller, form controller name with their name. That name should be as same as whatever we are writing in our controller. So now we have mapped it, and then that same name, it will be in a ng module also. So if we are creating any model, okay, so like this we are creating it like a form. And say in that form builder we having a like a required, we have some validations are there. So in that we are having like a dot required properties, and then we can send like a pattern. Okay, suppose simple, normally I'm telling the pattern. If we have our own customized way, there we can pass our own method, and we can write our logic for the things. These are like kind of customized validations are there.
Okay, good. So how did you call like front end to back end?
So front end to back end, we are using like observable things. So observable RSJS concept are there, where we are using all the observables method, like observables to get the data for the asynchronized way we can handle it for the API calls and all, and we are getting that API calls, and then with that observable we are subscribing in our component dot subscribe. With the dot subscribe we'll get it some response like a failed and success or failed. Okay. So if we are having any kind of errors, so we are handling that error. Two things we can say, like error we can handle like a global level handle we can do like a error handling, or particular place we can handle it. So with the help of like observables, this kind of API calls we are interacting.
Okay, fine. So coming to the form design, so are you worked like material design or bootstrap design? Like
Material we are using it. Some of the place bootstrap are there, but I'm mostly aware of material.
okay, good. So material. Then how did you design like a stepper form? So I want to design some stepper form. We have huge form, so I want to split it 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. So
Yeah, I got. Like you mean to say, like a stepper will be there,
yeah.
and that dynamic steppers are there. I think we have like dynamic component kind of things are there. Not exactly, I can't say, but we using that stepper. Like it will flow, it will progress of that form. It will be display. Am I correct? Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So in the ad we are having like a stepper.js. We are there. Those things we have implemented in a TS file. So we are handling like a exactly I can't say, but we can say like a dynamic components. We can place it in that steppers each and every place of moving to further next step. So like that I can say, but exactly
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah, every
used it,
application
but I know
require.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you know, right? That's good.
Yeah. That I know.
So can you explain like how did you like load like different type of tab data, tab group, material tab group?
Material tab group.
Yeah.
Uh,
For example, you have bank application. For one tab shows transaction details, another tab shows some
yeah.
uh, invalid
So
transaction like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have dot tabs are there, but I why exactly I can't tell. But
Okay.
I know the thing because we are using our own framework. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
like we have like FIS having their banking actually should be like a sync for the every place. Same thing will be should be there, right? Button having yellow color should be yellow color entire application like that. So entire all the bank products will be the same. So we are having our own framework of the UI. So I didn't dig it much
Okay.
things. So but we can develop it how
Okay.
you are.
Okay, Vasan, no issue. So, so we have like material data table. So
Uh,
it is obviously it is loaded like complete data like lakh records loaded in the data table. I don't want to load all the data, so I want to load 10 records using custom pagination. So what are the
uh,
parameters needs to send back, and then how did you get
uh,
the details?
yeah. So we have like a pagination concept. Like we have 100 of data. So what will happen once we will hit the API call? It will we will pass like a max record one parameter. Okay, and in that max record like we are sending like a 10, so it will give a 10 records. First 10 record it will give. Okay, and we will pass like a 0, cursor will be 0. Okay, and cursor end will be a 10 position, and then first it will go like that, and then while returning the response will come with the max with the number of that records 10 and max and whatever the record, how many records, suppose 1,000 records are there, number of record it will come 1,000, it will come with the parameter from the backend. Again, next step it will be like we have pagination, like a next pagination you are going 1 to 10 you have came, now you are going 10 to 20. So now if we go for the drop down for the next 10 to 20, then we are passing like a cursor, it will move to the 10. Like we are passing again a cursor value, we are passing it, and the end we are passing like a max 10. So like that we are passing it. Parameter will be required like a cursor and max length.
Okay. So okay. So we have like employee list. Sorry, customer list. For example, your application bank. So each customer we have image. Then how did you show the image with customer name?
Okay. So with the image, with the the top of that, you mean to say image of top of that we are showing like a profile will be
Yeah,
there,
profile
like
or
around side.
a row. For example, data
Uh,
table. So we want to show
okay.
one column per
So
image, another column per customer name. Yeah. So where did
so
you
I,
retrieve the data, and where did you?
yeah.
Yeah, how
Okay.
did you?
So we are using like we'll get some images, not images, exact image. We'll get like a spread images for the particular records. Okay. So that with that spread images, we are using it on the base of that current value. Name will be there for suppose we are having a record row 1. Okay. That spread image name will be like a number of a unique index of that row. So based on that we are showing that, and we are using for that like an image tag we are using it, so that it will be placed exactly place, it won't be get like a it easy to responsive way. So image tag with that using it, and mostly the like images will get it, and we are using like that way.
Okay. So, Vasan, have you worked like multi-select drop-down design?
Multi-select, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, okay. So you know that absent transfer design. So I want to transfer to one side to another side. You know that design.
Cross browsing you mean to say?
Yeah, we have left side one design. We have list employee list. I want to
Okay,
move to
okay, yeah,
left
I got.
side to selected
Yeah,
employees.
yeah, I got. Okay, so you mean to say something we have selected,
Yeah, yeah,
checkbox you can select, and then if you copy that, it will move to
yeah.
the
Moved into
right side
another
of that.
right side, another
So
list.
so like that implementation we can do like two things we can do. Okay, one, it's like a we have created some, suppose we are having a one employee list. Okay, in that employee list we are having a username and password. Okay, so right side it will be there. Okay, that is nothing but that data is nothing but like a JSON. Okay, so that JSON, once if you every JSON we have iterate it, and we are creating one checkbox for each of the nodes. Each of the node means one on user data, uh, parent node. Okay, every plane. So if we check it, so we are creating right side of JSON. Okay, whatever we are showing in a right side. So that JSON data we can push it in our right side of the JSON, and then that's, I think that will be a very easy to do this thing. We are pushing it, if we're on the check of that we are pushing, and we are removing with that. We are playing with the JSON actually.
Okay. Fine. So coming to the TypeScript. So can you tell me the uh, so can you explain the interface? So where we have to use interface?
Interface or inter, interface you are trying to say, or interceptors?
Yeah. Yes.
Am I correct?
No, no, not
Interceptor, right?
interceptor, interface. So TypeScript, it is provide object oriented language, right? So
Uh,
so interface, what is interface, or what is enumeration? Enum, are you used in enum?
yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Enum,
explain. Yeah.
enum I haven't used it. You mean to say enum? You mean to say like a in a encapsulation? You mean to say?
Not encapsulation, enumeration. So by default we have to handle the data. Okay.
No, I haven't aware of that.
uh,
Much I don't.
you know arrow function?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So arrow okay. Yeah, complete your question.
yeah. So
Okay. So arrow function is we can say like whatever we are older in a JavaScript, whatever we can say in the at place we are writing normally in a normal function with the keyword of the function, and then we are writing our name and we are written statement should be there, it will be there and all. So those things now it was like in a ES6 they have introduced with the arrow function where it was very shortcut way they have written it to declare the method. And main difference is like suppose we are having any normal method we have written it and we have any single statement of that, no need to write it in an arrow function written keyword. So we no need to write, we can write it normally way, it will be written it. And main thing is like it won't be having their own this, okay, like this keyword it won't be having particular that arrow method, it won't be having their own this, it will be like if we are writing it anything, so that this will be fall inherit from the upper, whatever we can say like a super class of that method and whatever nearest this we can say. So like that that is the main difference in arrow function. Yeah.
okay. So TypeScript, it is object oriented language. So can you explain the like inheritance concept? So we have one component like child one component. So we want to extend to child two component. So are you
So,
aware of this
yeah.
one? Yeah.
Yeah. So classes we can extend it. Okay, with the keyword of extend, we can extend that. Let's suppose some class we have created. So we normally you can say like we have created one model. So if you want to use that model, you can extend in your class. So with that you can use that model. Same thing like you can say like a parent to child. Also we can say if you have created any method in a top super class, that method you can use it in your child class as well. So same way, and extend one more is the in a interface also we can extend. So like sorry, interface we can extend using a keyword implement. So interface is nothing but we are having like a bunch of methods we can have which are not unimplemented methods will be there. So with that methods, if you want default will be there. If you are not implementing that method, if in your component in your class freshly, so whatever default things are there in your interface that will be run, or else you can override that method and you can implement in your own logic. So inheritance concept will be mostly happen in a keyword of extend and implement
Good. So what is the use of as syntax
as syntax.
in TypeScript? Mm, okay,
Not
that's fine. So how did you convert like string into like integer float? Backend they are given string format, like for example
okay.
amount value. So how did you convert like floating values, string to float?
Uh,
Yeah.
I didn't get it actually your question. Can you repeat it?
Yeah. So backend itself they are given like a string format. For example, value amount. So
Ah,
101.5 in the string value. So I want to convert into double format. So how did you convert?
okay.
Yeah.
So in a TypeScript, we are having like a declaration. We are having it.
Mm-hmm.
So in a JavaScript, like how we are having like a pass int and all, two string are there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, with that, we can use it to convert the data, or if we are want like a JSON.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, JSON format. If we are having some object we want to use, like suppose mostly it will come like a string format, right? So
Okay.
that if you want to use it in a JSON, we can use it like a JSON dot stringify or JSON dot pass. We can use like in a vice versa. So based on that, we can use it our
Okay.
convert and we can use it.
Okay. So finally, you completed your module. So, okay. So how did you take a build and deploy your application? Can you explain me?
So in a yeah, so once we done our coding everything, we are like having a like a first we need to run like a normal
Mm-hmm.
uh, local build.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ng dot build. In that ng dot build it will be like a compiler will be there, ot opt otp, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting that word. So so those with that compiler we are, it will be compiled, and the end if it is anything like a mistake, anything like missing things, like errors are there, so itself there itself we will get it. So it will like we can say it's like a compiling. Okay, compiling will be happen, and there we have a like a compiler, right? So that with that compiler we'll get it instant, there we will get it the errors everything. If it is a error, zero error, it is compiled everything, then we build for the prod. Okay, ng prod build, and that prod build also we compiler will be run like a vy compiler will be run everything, and it will be create like a browser readable format, we can say like one we can say like a main.js file. Okay, so that is the main, it will be create, but in our application it will generate one war file. Okay, so because in that war file we have like a ui UI piece of every compressed files will be there, everything. So some JSONs will be there dependent on the backend. Okay, suppose we have some dependency with the backend, those kind of war file will create, and then that war file it will be deployed in our Tomcat. So that is the main for the local to up and running. Okay, but for the prod we are, once we code merge everything, then will Jenkins we are using to deploy the things and build the application, and then with that Jenkins we will start building, and then it will deploy by the like DevOps teams are there. So we deploy, we raise a request for them.
Okay. Fine. So, when Vasant, are you worked like dashboard kind of things? For example, we want to show some transaction details using bar chart or pie chart.
Yeah, yeah.
Which framework are you working?
Sorry.
Which framework have you used?
Framework actually we are using like our own framework, I have told, right? So
Okay.
in that we are using like a Cando JS, we are using it. Okay, it's a paid version, so we are using that, where having a like a dashboard predefined, and dashboards are there. So with the Cando JS we mostly we use to handle the transaction, latest session transaction, day transactions, and inventory transaction we are displaying in our board.
Okay. You aware of like eye charts, D3 charts, like this
Yeah.
framework?
So pie charts, and we are using it. So so like pie charts, we having a like pie charts we are having it, and donut charts we are having it. Okay,
Okay.
uh, and bar chart we are using it mostly. So on those things we are like a set of some configuration are there. Okay, so we'll get the data from the backend, that suppose we are passing that some method is there like a bar chart. Okay, we are created like a bar chart, so in that method we have to pass like a parameters our the data for that, whatever required data. So like that we are using to show the charts.
Okay. Good. So, yeah, fine, Vasant. So, in HTML, so coming to the CSS part, so we have like content, like for example, one paragraph, it is added in the one div. So I want to that paragraph shown in the border box. So how did you write the CSS code? So.
Can you come again? What content was there?
Yeah, we have like one paragraph. It's like
Okay.
some description. For example, product
Uh,
description.
hmm,
So I want to show some border all the content.
okay.
So yeah, how did you design using this content? Yeah, I want to show some margin like that.
Okay. So I can say like there is the box sizing kind of things are
Mm-hmm.
there in a CSS 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in that, with using that, we can achieve that like a border box
Mm-hmm.
border sorry, box sizing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We can use the property box sizing,
Mm-hmm.
and few more are there like a content box are there,
Mm-hmm.
and one more is the border box also there. And initially inheritance anyhow it was there.
Okay.
So with that we can use that these properties, we can use it border box and
Okay. Are you worked any Plex module?
yeah,
Okay.
flex.
Okay.
So flex is nothing but like a same thing. We can earlier whatever we are having, suppose side by side columns are there. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we can write earlier we need to use it like what we can say like, yeah, inline box we are inline block we are using it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, or we can use it like a float right and left, those things. So if you want to display like a column wise, you can write it like a flex.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for that flex we are having a multiple like component sorry, properties are there to display like a flex glow and flex, and rows we can decide it, and we can skip it, and like a shrink also we can do like a display flex. If you write it, it will be come all the things in a side by side. Okay, so
Okay.
these properties are there where we can use it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, Vasant, for example, you have developed a complete application. I want to client wants to show some different kind of language like French, English, Hindi. So, how did you handle language support?
uh, and in here, uh, I I haven't used it, but
Mm.
last company I have used it there.
Okay.
Some kind of translator will be there, and if I tell to uh, like in our application we
Mm.
have like a different configurations we are
Mm.
using it.
Mm.
Okay, language, suppose some tab name also there. Okay,
Mm. Mm.
the tab name it's like a constant, we
Mm.
are creating like a constant file. Okay, in the constant file like English it will be right,
Mm.
Spanish and you any other language is there, we will write like that. Okay,
Mm.
it was there, we'll get it. I know what you're trying to ask.
Mm.
Like entire application, how can we translate it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not translate, it will be transformed with the other application.
Other, yeah, other
uh,
languages like Tamil,
Other
English.
language,
Yeah.
yes,
Mm.
I got some modules we can use it. I
Mm.
think in Angular so many modules are there, we can use it, I think.
Okay.
I know you are asking like some specific
Yeah.
right now
Mm.
I'm not getting it.
Okay. The name called I think I18N, the language support.
I18.
N, yes, the bundle.
18,
Yeah.
yes, correct.
Okay.
So
So
this is the module, right?
yeah,
Am I
that
correct?
is, yeah, that is maintained in the inside like
Inside
JSON file.
NPM.
Yeah, you
Just
can add it in the language support. Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Okay, fine.
that's good.
So same like, so customer wants to change theme. For example, you developed blue theme, so customer wants to pink based theme. So how did you change theme globally?
Theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, theme we can change it like we can use it like a SAS kind
Mm-hmm.
of things. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
like where we are using like a entire like a variable like how we are, suppose we are writing for the color,
Mm-hmm.
and we are liking like a hash, we are code we are writing it, right? So instead of writing our code,
Mm-hmm.
we can write it like a variable. So if we change the themes, so based on the themes we can, that variable value we can change it, so that or every place wherever you are using that background color, that variable, it will be reflect in that. So like that, in a CSS we can write it like a SAS module, we can write it and you can use it.
Okay. Are you aware of any like unit testing framework, Jasmine and Karma?
Yeah, Karma I know. I know that we can write it in the Karma specific equals and method with the using of that. So with that we can test cases, we can run it, but in my application, what we are doing it, mostly we test with a mock things. Okay, every day we are running, we will run like mock testing. So in that mock testing, in nothing else, JSONs will be there, like a predefined request will be there. So with that mock JSONs, we will run it our application. Means every day one transaction will happen, one payment will happen, and one withdrawal should happen. One development will start. Okay, so on the based on that we can get to know, yes, application up and running, there is no error to develop while developing purpose. So like that we are using it.
Okay. So in your code, who's reviewed your code?
Um, Revealed by two levels. Okay, one will be like our team lead, and one will be our architect. So two level should be there for to approve our thing, and we are like having using Git, we are using it to raise a pull request, creating a new branch and raise a pull request, and then it will be merged, and then we'll go for the deployment for the Jenkins once it's merged and all like that. We'll give a build number and all.
Okay, good Vasant. So yeah, Vasant. So I covered almost the things. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to ask anything?
Uh, yeah, just I want to know. I didn't get time to take about company, and I want to know what kind of responsibility you are looking if I am selected, so that it will be good to know about the things that is going on.
We are front end using Angular 10 and HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and TypeScript. So whatever I asked your question, right? So like that development front end. So back end Spring Boot with microservices. So they are given backend API. So we should migrate and deploy in the cloud, like using AWS or Azure.
Okay.
This is the development part.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
thanks for
Thank you.
your time, Vasant. So have a nice
Yeah.
day. Thanks for your time. Yeah, I will give
Yeah.
feedback to you
Thank you.
once. Yeah,
Yeah. Sure. Sure. Thank you. Have a nice day.
yeah. Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you are not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and keep watching. Happy learning.